Hey, welcome to West Virginia football going deep. I'm Forrest Poston. Some of you already know that. Hopefully, we're getting some new people who just found out. Anyway, going to be talking about uh, defense and offense for 2024. Today, the defense. Looking at probable starters, and I'm not exactly too deep, but who's playing where, and just generally how things might look. I am not factoring in who is out or injured for spring. If they're expected to be playing in fall, they're on the list. Starting at the safety position, we have Anthony Wilson starting at the free safety. Uh, who else might be at free? Bit unclear. For the cat or deep safety, Burks and Joseph, I think, are going to split starting time, and who is there will probably depend on who's playing spear, because I think they're going to split time at spear as well. So they will likely both be on the field at the same time most plays, unless there's a corner or such playing the spear. Or actually, Burks may move around anywhere on the field. So he could be playing not a given position so much as just being out there trying to wreak havoc. And then Joseph would be at the official safety or spear. Other guys, not that many freshmen are on the list, but we do have Boyce, who's expected to play safety, and I think he has a chance at playing time. We're not deep at safety, and he is in for spring, so he's getting that head start. Might help. Garnes probably be mostly at corner, but can be spending some time. He's going to train some at safety. Tagalo and Nelson will be in his second year, and we'll see how that develops. They were, I think, fairly happy with him last year as he was developing. Same with Jackson. Um, yeah, I think this is Tagalo and Nelson second. And we still have Avery Wilcox, one of those hardworking walk-ons. Don't know if he will ever manage to get the scholarship, since there may not be any available this year. But he was close to playing time last year. Not quite there. If he can step up, it's a more crowded room, but there's chance. Corner. And I am not even trying to guess who's going to be playing which side. Montre Miller is back. He's been in the program for a year. He was looking to be starter last year before the injury, so I think he has a good chance at starting. But who doesn't on this list? I think we've got mostly experienced, quality players. So Miller and Garnes, Hollis, Spells, and Crandall. Spells is something of the mystery. He's been here longer than any of the others, but he's still the mystery because he hasn't developed as expected. Might be because some of the defensive philosophy has changed each year, but he was playing some last year, did fairly well. So playing time, yes. Starting, I doubt it. And then we have the other Jackson brother at corner. Don't know if he'll get significant playing time this year, given all of the transfers we've brought in. But as fans, we don't know how good he is yet. So I like how corner looks. Just, again, how it's going to play out as to who is where. And several of these guys, will be playing other positions as well. So we'll get a lot of them on the field. Linebacker, I'm calling them both Mike 1, Mike 2. Because, the coaches have already said they're playing two Mikes instead of a Mike and a Will because Mikes are what they have plenty of. Those fast but sturdy, going in the gap, kind of linebackers, more sort of a traditional linebacker, as opposed to the slightly lighter, longer, faster guy who might be more expected to cover space and getting out into the flat more. I think the Will usually played the field side, so we are more, box of body, a box-shaped body in the box, playing downhill more than, boundary to bound, sideline to sideline. Of course, they still need to be able to get there too. Behind him, we've got Austin Cave, who is still, last year might have been a good year for him if he hadn't gotten injured. We don't know. We just haven't seen him. And he is one of the guys who's at risk for transferring, I think. Beiser, Favaris, and Kane all, I think, have, hey, how about the starters? Didn't mention that. And again, I'm not guaranteeing who's going to start at which location. I've got Trotter and Cutter, Lathan and Carico. Might be Trotter and Carico, Lathan and Cutter. And heaven knows, whichever two are in there, they may be switching side to side. They did that a lot with Koba and Lathan last year to make best use of some of Koba's skills and just to confuse the offense. Now that they are treating them both as Mikes, I think they could do that a lot. But a couple of the backups, don't think, did Beiser get a scholarship? Yes, he did. So Kane is the only walk-on I've got listed on there. He should be a major force on special teams. Might get some playing time, but it is a deep room. Bandit. French and Bradley, I'm kind of listing them as co-starters. I think French will be the starter when they're using just one bandit, but I do expect him to play two bandits, and then we will likely see French and Bradley. Onwuka is likely to get playing time. Whether or not they'll burn his red shirt, wait and see. I think they kind of expect to. He probably, I would expect him to be good on special teams, and he's got a body that it is kind of a mid-sized body that Brown said we needed more of on special teams. So expect him to be in there. I've got Fisher listed at both bandit and defensive line. He's listed as a defensive lineman on the official roster. He's also still listed at 222 pounds. I don't think they have updated the weights for this year, but he needs 40 to 70 pounds to really be defensive line. Call him an edge rusher, somewhere in between, but that's kind of what the bandit is. And of course, he does have that leg injury, so we'll have to see how that affects the whole process. He's got a really impressive body with that height. Whether or not he can add I mean, right now he's light even for a bandit, depending on how much. Of course, he probably can't afford to put on too much weight because he's got the leg injury, and you don't want to be, putting stress on it. Anyway, over at the spear, which will be a fascinating position, I think Burks and Joseph will split as the starters, except, if they think they're going to be facing a tremendous number of passes, and then we get a corner in there. But the list of who may be, Burks and Joseph, co-starters. As I said before, one will probably be at safety, one at spear a lot of the time. So whoever else you're looking at spear is kind of the number 2 guy. The others are 1A, 1B. But we've got Raleigh Collins, and still, man, hoping that he's going to come on this year. Looked so good freshman year before an injury. Jennings, freshman, but expected to contribute at both safety and spear. Garnes in there when looking for a corner. Although Garnes will be corner, safety, and spear. He's going to get around. Wilcox, and then possibly other, corners coming in. And I mean, I think spear is going to be a very, very shifting spot. And they're calling this a 3-4, and I'm not calling it a 3-4 because we still have the bandit and spear as hybrid players. And it's what we had before. They're playing things a little bit differently, but it is still, to me, I mean, I'd call 3-2-2-4, something like that. That does not add up to 11. Anyway, but on the line, and lots of experience up there, lots of talent. I am not worried at all about who we lost. We've got the guys. A couple of them injured, but everybody should be ready to go by fall. The boundary side, I think Martin and Jackson are your 2 main players. On the field side, Vesterinen and Jackson. Brown did say Jackson will be playing both, the end and tackle spots, both sides. So that should be interesting, and yet another thing that hopefully will confuse offenses. At the nose, Mulba and Russell look to be, I still think, number 1 and 2. McIntyre, Brown spoke very highly of him, so he's likely to get playing time. But Mulba and Russell were just playing better and better at the end of the year, so I don't necessarily see McIntyre passing either of them. And listing the guys who might be playing, I'm pretty much listing everybody who is on the roster, including, I think, 1 freshman. I think, because Kinsler will be in for spring camp. But, I mean, Redwood will see a lot of playing time. I'm into McIntyre. Gabriel hopefully is going to be ready. Same with Keith. TJ Simmons. I don't know. I was glad he came back after he went into the portal for a while. And the talk was really good. He was supposedly doing just fantastic in camp. And then he did not really do much of anything in the season. So I'd like to see him come on, but I'm not convinced he will. Kinsler, we'll see how he does for spring, and then what he can do in the weight room and nutrition by fall. Zeke Lawton, another one of those guys who's been around a while and remains an absolute mystery. Wasn't necessarily expected to be a star, but it was a great hometown, home state, kid comes home, and nothing has happened since. No word on why. He had some injury issues at one point, but I don't know. He may be gone in the portal as well. And again, Fisher, I don't know where he's going to be. We'll have to see. And of course, the injury, he'll be ready to go by fall, but how ready he is might be later in the season before we see much out of him. But take a look at not just the starters, but the player list. And that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Now, what I've got up here is what I call it the basic defense. I do think with the way the spear is going to shift around, I think I'll be a lot more active with blitzing. When Floyd was there, blitzing was a possibility, but not much with anybody else. We've got 2 or 3 guys there at least who should be able to blitz and bring more pressure. I think we're going to see a lot more pressure from a lot of directions. The double bandit will, change things. And, of course, Burks moving around can make, offenses are going to have to look for him. And that can make the defense look a lot different depending on where he is. So I'm excited. Of course, I'm excited for the offense. Last year was great reason to be excited for the offense. A lot of people are more worried about the defense. I am not. I think the defense may be as good as the offense. And that will be pretty dang good. Okay, I will be doing offense next. Hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe. Click the thumbs up button. You do not really need to pay any attention to the thumbs down button as far as I'm concerned. Make comments, preferably without profanity. Click the share button. Go out and shout it to your friends, to your neighbors, and to strangers. I don't care. And I will see you later.